So come on over and take a seat on your blanket. And again, just have your comfort items available for tonight's class. This is yoga for anxiety. And I wanted to take a moment before we start class and to talk about last night's class, yoga for depression, and then tonight's class, yoga for anxiety. These are tools that I have tried and had a lot of success with in my life. But what works for me is not necessarily what will work for you. And if you are dealing with depression, with anxiety on a regular basis, and you have a support group for that, I invite you to discuss what you've learned in these classes with them. Even if you have a therapist, you tell them about the breath moves or the positions that we find and get their support with it. It's really nice to have everyone working together toward a better mental health. I received a very lovely message that said, thank you for talking about your journey. No one ever talks about this stuff. And I wouldn't be doing anyone a service if I said, this is the only way that works. It's not. There are many tools that have nothing to do with yoga that work quite well, including something that I learned from my own therapist, which is grounding. Wherever you are, you can ground yourself. And we're going to practice that tonight repeatedly. But I just want to make sure that anything that doesn't feel right to you, you stop. Anything that evokes an emotion for you, you can write it down, you can pause, we can talk anytime. I'm happy to meet with anyone one-on-one to discuss particulars and talk to your support system, whether it's your family, your friends, your therapist, whomever it might be, who helps you with your mental health. I really do invite you to bring them into your yoga conversation, especially when you are choosing this series to take care of your mental health. So with that said, tonight's class, Yoga for Anxiety, really will give us some tools to practice repeatedly over and over again in times of anxiety and in times of panic. In my journey, I will still experience a panic attack, but I have immediate tools that I can use to talk myself out of it. Now, this has taken years of practice. This has been me practicing what grounding techniques work for me, what or breathing techniques work for me. And I invite you to do the same. None of this is like you do it once and woo, depression's gone. Oh, if only I had that power, maybe someday. But life is a journey, mental health is a journey, and these are tools that I'm offering for you to use along the way. Take them, make them your own, see what works. And just for tonight, we're gonna, to start off tonight's movement, we're gonna breathe. So I'm gonna set my timer here. 3 minutes is about the minimum recommended time for any kind of breath practice. And this breath practice, we're gonna have a sharp inhale through the nose and a slow and controlled exhale through the mouth. Now, this works for anxiety. This can also help you if you're having an asthma attack. Funnily enough, this pursed lip exhale really brings us mindfully into our breath. So 2 things we're going to do with this. We're going to be able to hear the sound of our own breath. And this brings a soothing sensation to the body. When we can hear ourselves breathing, especially in times of anxiety or panic, the brain responds to that in a nice, calm way. So have this feeling that you are listening to the sound of your breath, and then also that you're lightly controlling it. You don't have to count, you don't have to do anything, but just pay attention to breathing in through the nose and then cooling whoosh out of the mouth. So like a pursed lip exhale as though you're blowing out of a straw. So nice sharp inhale and blow out of the mouth. and keep going. It's a very slow exhale, trying to slow it down each time, but not giving any pressure to what that number is. You don't have to count, you just slow. Now, 2 minutes left with this breath practice. Keep going. But as you're breathing here, now I want you to feel all of the places where your body is touching the ground. Whether you're sitting in easy pose as I am, or maybe you're sitting in a chair or another concoction with your legs, just notice all of the places where your body is touching the ground. And then see if you can rest a little heavier there. So this is the practice of grounding. So let's just do that for the next little minute here with our breath. Still that open mouth exhale. Listening to the sound of your breath and controlling it without any pressure. And then that feeling that you're really noticing all of the physical places that your body is touching your mat. And this one really is up to you. Eyes open or closed, however you feel safest. And then if they're not already there, flip your palms down and add that little extra bit of grounding. Last 30 seconds here. And then resume your natural breath. That right there is how I talked myself out of my last panic attack. I grounded physically into my body. I controlled my breath and listened. And after, after a few moments of doing that, my body regulated itself. My brain was able to really feel safe, and I was able to let the anxiety and panic go. And I was panicked to the point of crying. I was on the top of a mountain about to climb down it with nothing but a little rope holding me up. And I was really able to get into that place of release with that exact technique, where wherever you're touching, you press down, however you can, you control the breathing. And you remind yourself that you're safe. You can do this anywhere, anytime. I've done it on the side of a mountain in a gondola. I've done it on the side of a mountain, not even yet tied to the rope. And so from that breath technique, let's now find child's pose. Something about child's pose for anxiety. And you always want to make sure that you're in a safe place, child's pose in a contained area where you can really allow your eyes to close and allow yourself to feel the grounding. And now we're going to pay special attention to the feeling of the forehead resting into the earth. Now, if your body doesn't allow your forehead to come to the earth, that's when you can grab one, maybe even two blocks and make it happen. Even if your hips are up more in a tabletop position, you can bring the forehead to rest heavily on 1 or 2 blocks, or maybe a pillow. Or if you can, child's pose with forehead pressing to the earth or a block. And now all awareness to the forehead. This is a nice little pressure point that allows, if we're going back to the tiniest of basics from when you were a baby, if you've ever like helped a baby fall asleep by brushing downward from their forehead to their nose, it's this very soothing place for the nervous systems to exchange. So you can really bring the body into a nice state of calm with that physical sensation. So we'll stay here in this little forward fold for about another minute or so. Become very grounded into your forehead. Focus into the sound of your breath, the rhythm. And physically bring the body to a state of calm. It might take a moment for the mind to follow, but you can start to mindfully and on purpose calm the physical body down. Take another deep inhale and exhale. Come on up from child's pose. Take your time. Now let's stretch into downward facing dog, or maybe tabletop and stretch one leg back, then the other. Just find a little bit of space in your legs. And bend into your knees, walk your hands back, and gentle ragdoll here. Come back to the sound of your breath, and now notice grounding down into your feet. So our points of contact have changed here. So notice where the weight is settling into the heels and into the ball mounds and even into the toes. Notice where the arches might lift off of the ground, or maybe you're a little more flat-footed and everything is touching. Just notice your feet on the ground. Inhale to a half lift, lengthen out. Stay here as you exhale. And then press into your feet, soften your knees. Slowly come up to stand and arms reach up. Feet come wide, hands to the top of your head, and a gentle squeeze of the head as you bring this feeling of grounding down into the feet and into the top of the head. And just concentrate on your breath again and the sensation of grounding into the earth as the hands ground into the top of the head. Lungs are nice and open here, so you can really focus on a louder breath. And let's come back to a few rounds of that open mouth exhale. And release. Feet come together, and we're going to start to flow here with our breath in some half sun salutations. One of the ways to really calm into the mind and the body and to remain calm is to follow the breath. And so we're going to purposefully follow the breath here in some half salutes. I really do invite you to keep your knees very soft as we flow here so that you don't cause any hamstring pulling, and just keep it really nice and gentle and friendly. So Tadasana pose, and feet can be about hip distance or big toes can come to touch. Draw the tailbone long, lengthen in between the hip points and the bottom of the ribs, shoulders relax, crown of the head reaching up and back of the neck long. It's always a nice idea to take this mental inventory of how you are standing exactly in your body, where you can quiet the mind and train the mind to just notice how your fingers are dangling and how your palms are pointing. And if you feel open through your chest. So just stand here in Tadasana pose, feeling that grounding of the feet and the whole rest of the body, just noticing how you're standing and how it feels to stand that way. Notice how you're breathing and how it feels to breathe that way. And let's take a nice inhale together. And exhale. And next inhale, arms will reach up. Nice slow motion. Eyes can be open. As you exhale, fold forward. Keep your spine long, knees soft. Touch the earth if you reach. Half lift, hands to your palms. Exhale, fold in. Hands to your shins. That works better than hands to your palms. All the way up. Press through the feet. Reach the arms up. And palms together, hands to your heart. Exhale. Let's move a few more times. Inhale. Notice how much you can reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Notice how your spine and your legs feel here. Half lift. Inhale, lengthen out. Exhale, fold in, nice and slow. All the way up. Breathe and reach. Hands to your heart, strong Tadasana. A few more. Inhale, feet press down, arms reach up. Exhale, nice and slow, fold in, belly toward the thighs. Half lift, lengthen out. Exhale, fold in, nice and easy. All the way up. Press through your feet and reach. Hands come to your heart. 2 more. Reach up. Inhale. Exhale. Listen. Half lift. Lengthen out. Exhale. Listen. Press down. Reach up. Stretch. Hands to your heart. Exhale. 1 more. Reach it up. Exhale. Fold it in. Half lift. Exhale. Fold. All the way up. Press through the feet. Reach the arms up. Hands to your heart. And then release your arms down. Shrug your shoulders a few times. Release tension. And up and around. And then just start to shake a little bit. Feet can leave the ground, maybe stomp a little bit, bend into your knees. You don't have to stomp, especially if you have downstairs neighbors. But find this little place where you can just shake it off. Doesn't even have to be big movements, but try to be all over body with shaking it off. My floor is creaking along with the rhythm. So just find this place where you can just reset into your physical body. Sometimes anxiety, especially if you tend to make yourself smaller when you're in those anxious moments, this is a nice way to just kind of stretch it out. And then start to twist and hit your hips with your hands. Just feel that sensation here of the arms going across the body. And then come back to center. And notice how your feet are pressing in. Mine are about shoulder distance here. You can join me in that or whatever way it feels nice. Soften your knees and then tilt your tailbone straight down toward the ground. So you're not tucking under at all, but pulling the tailbone straight down. And then lift up into the toes. And we're going to come into tree hugger. So you're going to bring your arms out in front of you, fingertips almost touching. So slight bend in the knees and tailbone tucking down. Shoulders relaxed, and tree hugger pose where you're creating this feeling of absolute stillness. If you've ever actually hugged a tree, you will know how solid a tree trunk can be, even though there's still some slight movement. The tree trunk definitely feels the sway of the branches and vibrates. So you want this feeling that you're opening up in a very safe way, hugging a tree, so to speak. And come back to the sound of your breath and the feel of your feet on the ground. Concentrate on keeping the shoulders soft. And if you are a visual person, I hope you're hugging your favorite tree right now. Otherwise, just the physical act of standing here, arms outstretched in front in this protective manner of the heart, it helps the body and the mind to feel safe. So let's take 3 more breaths here. Feel strong, feel calm. And then relax the arms down and maybe shake out that tension too. Holding the arms up like that can create its own little challenge. And then let's come on back down to the ground. You can sit onto your blanket if you'd like. It's always nice to have a little bit of height under the hips. We're going to stretch our legs out. So maybe I'll turn this way. So hips up on the blanket, especially if you're feeling a little tight in your hips. And then press the palms down. And if the palms don't quite fit or don't quite reach, you can bring your blocks under and press the palms down. Sit bones press down, draw your shoulders down, and just ground again. Here we are now changing how we're sitting. So notice where the ankles or the heels, the calves, maybe your knees, maybe your hamstrings and sit bones. And then also notice where the palms are pressing into the blocks or the earth. And listen to the sound of your breath. Just practicing this grounding technique. The more you practice it, the more you can call upon it when it needed. One more slow, deep breath. If you're using the blocks, just set them aside, maybe keep them close. We're going to go into a forward fold. So a forward fold can really make the world smaller and more manageable and give you a place to focus into your breath. So eyes open or closed. Reach your arms up and stretch as tall as you can. And then pull the belly toward the thighs, hands to the earth as you fold in. You can soften your knees as much as you'd like. And listen to the sound of your breath, hands pressing into the ground. If you're holding onto your feet or your calves, that's fine. Just feel that grounding sensation of the hands into the legs. And in this forward fold, let's take a few rounds of our open mouth exhale, releasing physical anxiety from the body and letting the steadiness, the steady sound of our breath help us to relax. Inhale. And soft exhale out of the mouth like you're blowing out of a straw. One more. Slowly come up. Bend into your knees, sit tall. Come to a position where you can rest your forehead on either your hands or maybe you fold it down onto your arms. You can use your arms to hug the knees close in. And concentrate on that forehead pressing into the hands or the arms. And breathe deeply into the back of your body. Feeling if the feet pressing in, feeling the sit bones pressing in. And cultivating this sense of safety. One more deep inhale. And exhale. And we're going to come down to our backs now into grounding pose. Keep all your props handy. And moving down now, pressure into the spine. And roll here gently side to side. You can physically hug your shins or your thighs in, or just let your arms rest on the ground. It's really up to you how you feel most comfortable. And sway the weight here gently from hip to hip. And then notice again all of the places that your body is touching the earth. Cultivating this sense of connection and being anchored and safe. The feet come down to the earth. We're going to move here in a little sequence with our breath. So relax here in what I like to call lowered bridge pose, hands at your sides, palms of the hands pressing into the earth, and get rid of the arch in your lumbar spine. So press your low back into the ground so that your spine feels nice and flat against your mat. Shoulders relaxed, feet pressing in. As you inhale, slowly bring the hips off of the ground, rolling up toward the shoulders. And exhale, roll down. 2 more times. Inhale, hips lift up, roll to the shoulders. Exhale, concentrating on pacing the breath with the movement. Just allowing your focus to go on what you're doing. Inhaling, hips lift up. Exhaling, hips lower down. And then hands out to a T shape. Inhale, center. And exhale, twist to the right with the knees face left. Inhale, back to center. Control the breath and the movement. Exhale, legs left, face right. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, hands return to your sides. And right ankle crosses at the left thigh. And if you can't hug both legs in, I invite you just to hug the right leg in. So we're going for a little bit more of that weighted feel into the spine, this grounding pigeon pose. If you can, left leg will assist the right leg in coming in. And you can interlace your hands around the shin or the thigh. Otherwise, just use your hands to keep that pigeon shape in the right leg. And take a few deep breaths, concentrating on releasing tension through the right hip and feeling yourself sink into the earth on the exhale. And release down. And pigeon pose, second side. Either use your hands to hug that left leg in, or maybe the right leg helps you. And right away, return to those slow exhales, seeing what you can release in the left hip while you feel that grounding sensation in the back of your body, including in the back of your head and shoulders. Just allowing the whole back body to rest. And slowly relax down. Either hug the knees into the chest for one final grounding pose, or find a happy baby. The whole spine resting on the earth. And start to stretch out for Shavasana. I invite you to bring a little bit of weight into your Shavasana, to your chest or your belly, in the form of a heavy pillow or a heavy blanket. That way you can feel grounded in the back of your body and in the front of your body. And just concentrate on the slow, easy breaths here. And feeling the back of your body continually sink in to the ground. Feel yourself getting heavier through the legs and heavier through the arms, purposefully relaxing tension and bringing the body to this state of calm rest. Start to deepen your breath. Move any props out of your way and start to bring a little bit of movement back into the body. And then as you're ready, roll on up into a comfortable seated position. Hands at your heart in a gesture of gratitude. And we'll end here with the sound of 3 ohms. Inhale deeply. Oh. 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 Thank you for taking the time to take care of yourselves today. Namaste. I would like to talk briefly before I come back to the camera, talk briefly about weighting yourself down for Shavasana. Now that might feel completely wrong to you. And if that is the case, then I even invite you during Shavasana, sometimes it's just nice to sit in a meditated pose, maybe even keep the eyes open, especially if you're in a group yoga class where you're not in your safe zone in your home or whatever, but you're in a group yoga class and maybe you don't feel comfortable laying down in a room full of strangers and closing your eyes, no matter how nice they are. Maybe you want to stay seated and just keep your eyes slightly open so that you can focus inward, but still have that little bit of outward awareness that can help us to feel safe in a situation. Now, a weighted Shavasana, however, in a safe place where you do feel in control of the situation, that can, like I said, it can help you to feel very grounded front and back. So you can try weighting your legs. They have weighted blankets. I've been known to use my bags from from our cornhole game, like just use the little sandbags up the legs for a weighted experience, and even bringing weight plates to my chest on top of my pillow. So I enjoy a very weighted Shavasana. It helps me to feel very grounded and very calm in my body, but it's not for everyone. So I invite you to play with that and see where you're most comfortable, where you can find the best place of quiet for those few minutes at the end of class.